Hi, Kate. Can you please introduce yourself and tell me what you do at Ruda-Cardinal?
Hi, Lucas. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Kate Medicus. I am the CEO of Ruda-Cardinal. Ruda-Cardinal is an optical engineering design and assembly firm in Tucson, Arizona. What I do there is I use my technical background and to help manage and guide the company through its growth.
Thank you. So you mentioned a little bit in a few keywords what your company does. Can you tell me a little bit more what you do, what your products are, and what markets you touch?
Yeah. So Ruda-Cardinal is a custom firm. So what we do is we take any customer's needs in terms of solving an optical challenge. So most of our customers, they have light or they have some sort of image that they want to see. They want us to build what goes here, and then they can get that light or that image to do something else. So what are we going to do with that light? There's certain things that we can do with light. We can see things. We can see them from far away. We can see them in challenging environments. One of the things that we're working on right now is a camera for a satellite repair mission. So this is
Ah,
an application or a mission that they will launch a satellite into space, and then they will orbit a satellite that is actually in orbit around the Earth, and then our camera will view the satellite that's to be repaired, and then they can make decisions about how they're going to do that repair work. So that's an application where we talk about very challenging environments. You've got very cold and very hot environments in space. There's also other things that we can do with light that's not just about imaging. We can use it for scientific exploration. So right now we're building an instrument that uses light to measure a biological sample, and that we can detect certain viruses or certain bacteria in that biological sample, and that will greatly enable speed in testing of those biological samples. And we understand how important that might be right now. What markets we touch? So we touched on some of the space exploration and the scientific work study that we do. Biomedical instrumentation is something that we also do. Defense work, helping our warfighters and our country in that regard, is work that we do also. We also have touched on commercial applications. We've built a system for Hollywood for a better camera so that we can get nice movies that we do like to see. So we're in a wide range of industries, anywhere that somebody needs light to do something. We don't have any products off the shelf, so we're very custom and very special in terms of we do challenges and we solve problems that aren't able to be solved by standard products.
wow, that is a very nice portfolio and very exciting um, set of competencies that your company has or must have.
So when we do a design, we start with optical design, and we're able to design lenses that can solve that optical challenge, and we can design those lenses perfectly to perfectly meet the customer specifications. But the problem comes about is that design just ends up with lenses floating in space, and we have to make the next challenge of how are we going to hold those lenses? How are we going to assemble them? And these type of assembly tolerances are sub-micrometer tolerances, and a micrometer is 1/1,000,000th of a meter, so it's a very small amount. So that's where our fun really comes into play, and then we add on a challenge of an environment where we might go through a
Right.
rocket launch and where it gets shooken up. So we really have to hold those, and we have to add in certain compliances in the system so that it can allow it to move a little bit, but then we have to bring it back to its normal position so that we can see what we need to see with the light.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great challenge, and we use a lot of different engineering principles, a lot of mechanical engineering principles, optical
Right.
engineering. We also think about
Material science.
material science and what are the material properties. Um, there's a lot of challenges, and when we talk about manufacturing, how are we going to shape the material that we use, and does the manufacturing process affect how the material is gonna stay consistent long term? So there's some
Hmm.
really good challenges that we have for that.
Great, thank you. So now let's switch gears a little bit and let me ask you what brought you or the company to Tucson? What in a way, what does Tucson offer you?
Well, I can answer it both. The answer both for me personally and for the company is the optics industry of Tucson, Arizona, and the history from that. My spouse actually decided to take a position at the University of Arizona as a professor in the College of Optical Sciences.
Hmm.
So I had worked in optics and optics manufacturing previously, and making making the decision to move to Tucson when my spouse had the opportunity was fairly easy because I knew I could find a good fit for me being here in Tucson. And then the company, we're about 26 years old. The original founders, Dr. Mitch Ruda and Dr. Ken Castle and Dr. Tillman Stuhlinger, they originally worked for a company in California. And then they spun out of that company and settled here in Tucson to be part of the community here from the college. They had also graduated. It was not a college at the time, but it was the Center for
Hmm.
Optical Sciences. And just being around the optics community really helps to contribute to the growth and the feeling of being involved with other companies.
Yeah, that really shows how big of an attractor the optical competency that is here in Tucson is for companies. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
mean, it's great. Most of our engineers are graduates of the University of Arizona. We do like to bring in some folks from other universities to be able to get a little bit of different opinions, but
Hmm.
just to have that resource and to have that there is a great opportunity for us.
Thank you. So how do you see the work that your company does actually affecting the future of Tucson, maybe the future of the community in Tucson, or maybe even the community of at large?
So I think, it's a broad question, and we can talk about that. There's a lot of different answers of how we do affect the future. For how, we want to continue as a company to affect the future of Tucson. We want to continue to grow as a company and provide employment opportunities for people, and to create collaborations with local companies, and possibly projects like funding senior design projects at the university, which we've done that. So we want to continue to be part of that future growth of Tucson in terms of growing our technology, growing our advances, and growing our ability to manufacture here within the United States and manufacture high precision type work. So that's definitely one thing that we want to contribute, and how we will contribute to it. And I think there's just a basic thing, a basic principle that optics are going to continue to be essential, and be even more essential as we develop new technologies, and as we develop new ways of viewing the world. Optics is going to be how we are going to view the world, how we're going to solve problems, how we're going to look at what does the soil look like on Mars. Optics is the way to do that. You bring in chemistry, you bring in all those questions, but if we use optical light, that solves a lot of problems that we would have otherwise. Communications, optical communications, as we continue to keep wanting to connect to each other throughout the world, throughout the globe. Optical communications and that infrastructure is something that is absolutely essential. And us being part of that community is how we want to affect the future. And
Thank
then,
you.
oh,
Yeah.
I could keep going on. And we talk about self-driving cars, we talk about automation, we talk about,
Yeah.
how will we be able to have sensors and and those tools that will be allow us to see things in work in environments that people can't work in, such as certain radiation environments or places that humans can't go. Optics are a way of seeing into those spaces so that humans can still interact with it. Biological, of course, is there's going to be environments that we do not want humans having to interact with those biological samples, and optical instrumentation and optical imaging is ways to protect the people that do that type of work.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. I think this is a really great outlook. And thinking back where electronics started to kind of turn our world onto a faster pace, I think electronics is now still making advances, but I think the next topic is really going to be how are we manipulating light and how are we using light to do things that we couldn't do before.
And we'll say the optical computing is the next big challenge.
Right,
Yep.
right.
We
Yeah,
yeah, we individually as a company don't necessarily contribute to that work, but our greater community, of course, does do that.
all right.
It'll be
Well,
interesting.
thank you very much,
Interesting.
Kate, for the interview.
Thank you.